Hello, I'm Jamie and I'm the founder of Valdres Fjellguider and Alpine Dragons. I'm going to be running through some items which we recommend you pack in your rucksack when going for a ski tour or snowshoe tour in Norway in early winter. So, firstly I'm going to speak about the rucksack. We want a rucksack which is large enough, obviously, to pack everything in. At the same time, if it's too big, we end up taking unnecessary things. Again, it's a good idea to focus on a rucksack which is more orientated towards skiing rather than mountaineering. These have a form which hugs better into the back and therefore has less movement when skiing downhill. Again, it also comes with straps which you can place your skis on. A lot of normal mountaineering rucksacks don't have these type of straps, or if they do, they're not always in the best place. It's very annoying to have your skis moving around, catching in the back of the head or on the back of the legs on the way up or down. And again, this rucksack comes with compartments, so we can store our wet items, for example, shovel and avalanche equipment in one section, and then we can store our dry items in another. That's also quite useful as well. It's worth thinking carefully about the type of rucksack you buy and make sure that it's kind of more focused towards the activity you're doing. So we can put that over there. The next item, which I think is really important to check, is the avalanche transceiver. I already have mine on here. It's a good idea, firstly, just to spend a bit of time just checking to make sure that it's not damaged in any way. This is something which is a really important piece of equipment. You just need to look over it carefully and see if there's no cracks in the bodywork. The actual screen here isn't damaged. And especially at the start of the season, it's important to check inside to make sure that our batteries are new and there's no sort of corrosion occurred. If you forget to take your batteries out at the end of the season, it can easily damage the contacts here. So just a quick inspection to make sure everything is okay. And again, just a quick turn on of the screen just to make sure that the unit works, and checking to see any information that comes up on the screen. Again, new batteries for me, 100%. Well, I'm going to be travelling my car today, so I don't really need to actually have it turned on, so I can turn it off and place it back in. The manufacturers supply this nice little harness, and they recommend that you place it underneath your jacket. Other people have different opinions, but I like to keep it here. It makes it a bit more awkward to get to it, but it keeps it nice and warm and keeps it kind of in a good place. So we know we have that there. We know that it's on us now. Even if I'm travelling in the car, I know I won't forget it. It's very easy rushing around to place that somewhere else and then forget it, or pack it away in the rucksack. The other items I will pack straight away, which we carry as standard in our rucksack, is our shovel. I point out, I don't normally pack my rucksack in the snow outside my house. It's just better light outside for filming. Again, it's a good idea, even if you use it all the time, just to make sure that that handle passes to that shovel. I have had on some of the courses that we've run, people turning up and not having the same shovel handle and to the actual shovel part. So that works. And just a quick inspection, make sure there's no sort of fractures. Again, I've had shovels break. We place that in the wet side of the rucksack along with our handle there. Again, another vital part of our rescue kit is our snow probe. And again, I would recommend you take it out and have a quick inspection to make sure, especially, that the wires attaching these rods are in good form. They're not actually damaged. They wires are very well made, but they can form twists. This one made by Pieps, covered in slight plastic, but over time that can become damaged and break. That cable inside is a vital part of the snow probe. If it was to snap while we were using it, we would pull out and only pull out a part of the snow probe. So it's important to make sure that it's in working order. If it's not in working order, it's just a useless piece of kit. So again, place that in the bag. We carry this sort of equipment all the time, and we often don't actually inspect it that often. It just becomes a standard piece of equipment we carry, and we very rarely use it. Again, especially in the early part of the season, we need to be carrying head torch. We can pop that in the top. Again, I have quite a large pocket here, and all important extra batteries. Extra batteries for our head torch and extra batteries for our avalanche transceiver. Again, in the last few years, I've had situations where people have checked the batteries at the car park, they've been 100%. We've gone out, and after a bit of testing with our equipment, it suddenly transpired that their batteries have gone flat. Now, I'm not sure if this is just something which has recently been happening, but it seems to be happening a bit recently. So maybe old batteries which they found at home, which stay 100% but very quickly go flat. So it's worth taking extra batteries. Again, small knife, a screwdriver to repair things on the way, pop that in. Other items which are very important: snow goggles. These are good for giving different contrast in the snow, if it's flat like today. And if the weather gets bad and we start getting snow particles in the wind, it will be one of the only ways we can actually see. These are also quite good for, well, very good actually for if it comes sort of bright light. So again, you can pop these in. In my rucksack I've got a place I can place them. Sunglasses, might need them, maybe not so important right now, early season, but on a sunny day, on the way up, goggles are going to get really warm on your face, so it might be better to have some sunglasses instead. All important helmet. I would highly recommend you have a helmet. A lot of people don't think it's very trendy to have a helmet. I don't think it's very trendy to have a head injury. So it's a good idea to get one which is focused towards ski touring rather than just say in the ski area. The reason being is that this one I can actually attach a head torch, the one I packed away just before. And that's quite important, because if I have a head torch on it here and it keeps on popping off while I'm trying to navigate down the slopes in darkness, then that'll be really irritating. With this, I can clip them on and know it's going to stay there. They tend to be a bit lighter as well, the focus one on ski mountaineering. This one is actually focused towards ski mountaineering and climbing. So again, that can be put in the rucksack, normally attached to the outside, but holding your attention to the fact that if you put it on the ground, you can damage it. Other items to knock the snow off: a pair of extra thermals to go underneath your ski pants if it becomes cold or windy. I normally just keep a very thin pair of wool underneath your ski pants while on the way up. Maybe nothing on the way up if it's still and quite warm. Not so cold, maybe not warm but cold. And it's nice to have an extra pair you can put on. These ones have zips on the side, so I can actually put them on without actually taking my ski boots off. An extra top. Normally on the way up I will just have a fleece, maybe a thin wool top underneath there. Again, just an extra top if it starts getting quite windy. Something for the head. Again, on the way up I often have a hat which is not so thick because I'm actually working. This one has a mesh on the top, so when I'm actually going up the hill using my body a lot, I can actually lose a bit of heat from the top of my head and don't sweat so much. That's kind of important. I'll put it on now actually because it's getting a bit cold. But other things that I think it's recommended to have some little layering system for your head, and then have a very important balaclava, or sometimes called Finnmark's lure in Norwegian. Again, that's really important, and we can actually just layer up. Also, I also have here an extra hat on the top of my fleece, and the all-important sort of neck gaiter or scarf. Again, this is really important, and this can also be brought up over your face, especially if it starts getting windy and cold. This is probably something that I'll probably wear or have near on me on the way up. But this, I poke it into my bag there to keep it nice and dry. On the glove front, I will take several pairs of gloves. I'll take some thin ones. If I'm working and it's not very cold, going up the mountain, I get quite warm in the hands. I don't want to sweat. If I sweat, I stop, that'll start cooling me down, I'll become cold again. So I have a pair of thin gloves. I have a pair of medium weight gloves. Again, these are probably what I wear the most while out on the hill. And lastly, I will always carry with me a really big pair of expedition mitts or really warm mitts. Chances are I probably won't wear these very often, but they're really vital to keeping your hands warm if, for example, you have to stop for a long period of time. Sometimes I wear them when I'm having lunch. So again, pack these into the central section of my rucksack, so I'm going to keep things dry. I'll be keeping those to one side for now. Again, some extra warm layers I'll take with me. Especially early season, I'll take these insulated warm over trousers, something extra for the legs. Really good if you're stopping for lunch or digging a snow pit, or if there's an emergency and you need to actually stand still for a long period of time. You're going to be really wanting them. These muscle groups in the leg here are really big and you can lose a lot of heat from them. Again, pack that down the rucksack. A warm jacket. This one is a down jacket. It's a good quality down jacket. It's a bit short, this one. I would recommend getting one which goes a little bit over this part of your body, your rump, because again, you can lose these big muscle sets and you can lose a lot of heat out. Having this on that comes over your bum will keep that area warm and keep the rest of you warm as well. Good piece of kit that. Again, we put that in the central section of the dry section of our rucksack there. Getting a bit cold in the hands. We'll move along quickly. Again, some other personal items we'll take is our lunch, and we'll take some flasks along. When we actually go out in winter, there's very little chance we'll actually find open water. So we need to carry all our water that we need. I would recommend taking a thermos flask. This is about 3/4 of a litre, keeping something hot in there. And in this one here, I will probably fill this with hot water again, and maybe have an insulation cover on it. So I have 2 items of fairly warm water. Again, these can be packed in. This one here can be actually taken and packed inside your down jacket, as long as it's screwed up tight so you don't leak. This one here could be put down the side. It's not so important to insulate that one. Trying to get most in. A lunch. Again, this isn't actually lunch. I've actually just made something look like lunch. But normally I would have lots of small items in there, nuts and meat and cheese and some chocolate in small bags which I can place around my body. It means that I can just take things out and eat them. Chances are, so early in the season like now, temperatures on the mountain, -15, I'm not going to really want to spend too long sitting around. So again, we place that in there. Along with our helmet and our gloves, that forms our own personal equipment. The other things I would really recommend to take with you are what we call some group items. And the obvious one I have lying here is this sleeping mat, actually covered in snow now. This is really vital, and I would advise you have at least 1 or 2 of these in your group. If you have to spend any amount of time sitting in the snow, you're going to be really glad about having something to sit on. For example, even having your lunch is very useful, but if you're injured, then this is going to be really vital. Some people say, oh, you can just sit in your rucksack, and yes, you can. But if you're sitting in your rucksack, that only covers a small section of your body. It doesn't insulate the rest of your body from the snow. This type of Z1 is actually very useful because it's very easy to roll in and out. The ones which you roll up often come together again. It's a bit irritating. This isn't the full winter weight one actually, it's more of a 3-season one. But it's pretty good, it's lightweight. The other items I would take with me are a bivouac shelter. Again, this is for 2 or 3 people. If we have more people in our group, then I would advise we actually get one which covers the whole of our group. The other item is a layered blanket which could wrap around several people or an injured person. It's made up of different layers, 7 different layers, and it has properties of about a 2-season sleeping bag. Again, this is a really vital piece of kit to have. If you're lying in the snow for a long time with injury, this is really going to make your time much more comfortable. Other things that I would take in the group area is the all-important GPS. This has included in it, this one's made by Garmin, it has a in-reach satellite communication possibilities. You can send SMSs or ask for rescue. Again, in the Norwegian mountains, there is good phone coverage, but often There are areas where there is no coverage. You don't have to go too far from the road to find little or no coverage. So again, that's a really vital piece of kit. Map, a bit old school, but yep, really important thing to take with you in the mountain. And maybe it's a good idea to have at least 2 maps of the right area in the group, because it's very easy for one to get blown away. Again, a compass, really vital for helping you orienteer in poor weather. Again, I would recommend you have 2 in the group, or even more, because there's always the possibility that they become damaged. And if you actually let them stand too long next to your smartphone, they can get a fail orientation inside. So that if you have more than 2, you can check to see if one of them is correct. Again, this one is just a standard base plate type of compass, very good for orienteering in the mountains. This one is also very good. It has added advantage that it has inside it a clinometer, which allows me to test or check the angle of the slopes. That's really useful because normally I have one piece of kit for orienteering, but I also have one for testing the slope angle, and that's really important. And the great thing about that, you can buy different types of angle measurers, but this one's really important because, well, this one's very good because it doesn't require any batteries. Again, I often keep that here in my jacket at all times, so it's very easy to get hold of. I carry a small book. This one's probably a bit big for most people, but in it I can write down observations. I can write down my avalanche and weather forecast before I go out, and during the day I can also write down some observations. Probably a bit too big for a small group, but a small bit of paper. It all means I can write down any information I need to pass on to other groups. All important first aid kit. Keep it simple. Don't go too elaborate with that. Keep it light. You're only in the mountains for one single day. If you do need help or more advanced medical equipment, then the rescue group will bring that. All important sports tape. Not only is it good for blisters, it's also good for other medical emergencies, and it can be used for repairing a whole wealth of other things. It's really good for keeping your skins on your skis. Take a couple of tie wraps with me, see if I can repair if unlikely event I break my ski bindings. And lastly, in that group, I would almost certainly carry some hand warmers in there as well, just in case someone in the group starts getting really cold and they can't really can't warm themselves back up again. This is kind of standard group equipment that I would take with me. And it's really important you spread this around the group and not allow just one person to carry it, mainly because often one person is very focused on this side of equipment and their rucksack gets very heavy. It also means if they get caught in an avalanche or they get lost, they go a different way than the other group members, they take all the safety equipment with them. So this is a pretty standard amount of equipment that we would take with us on a ski tour early season in Norway.